Yeah, I thought I was gonna get fish too, but I didn't. Total skunk-a-rama. Fishing was terrible in the lake. I mean, unless you were a crappie fisherman, which I'm really not, but there was some folks there that were just slaying those things. I mean, they were just absolutely left and right pulling them in. Just under regulation. I think regs up there were like 10 inches or so. They were just under that, but man, they were catching a lot of them. They had some keepers. One guy out of like 40 kept like 8, so it wasn't too bad a day for them. But as far as bass fishing goes, it was absolutely atrocious. I think there's a pro guy up there that lives there on that lake in Cincinnati, and he doesn't live on that lake, lives next to it up the road, whatever. Anyway, even he says this, that for bass fishing, that lake is just really, really difficult to get used to, or to catch fish. So anyway, we didn't get nothing, or I didn't get nothing, but it's all good because it was a great day on the water. Strange fact, I grew up on that lake. I'd been on that lake probably 150 times in the water, on the shoreline, in the beaches, and that kind of thing. And I had never been on that lake on any kind of a boat. I mean, I lived there till I was, what, 18, 19 years old, until I went into the military, and just never been on that lake in a boat. So that was my replacement Vibe kayak that I got, because mine had, the original hull had got a crack in it. But that was my replacement kayak, and that was its maiden voyage. So it was pretty cool to, you know, a little bit of nostalgia there, but it was pretty cool. On a second note, we live on a sailboat. We live in Florida on a river, and you know, on the edge of the Gulf, up a river, in a sailboat. And we are an offshoot of one of the big lakes here, Lake Russo. And when Irma came through, Hurricane Irma came through, we had a very unpleasant result on that lake. The hydrilla that had been on the lake was absolutely bad. It was so bad, it was absolutely atrocious. It was just overtaken. They had actually been fighting to kill off some of it since April, and to no avail. I mean, it was just almost completely taking the one side of the lake over. So in that sense, they, or on that note, they, when Irma came through, it uprooted 80% or better of that hydrilla. It uprooted it and it killed it. When I went out the other day to go bass fishing on that lake, I looked over and on the one side, it almost looked like land, where the hydrilla had come up to the surface and died, and it was decaying in the water. It almost looked like land, and I thought, man, that's weird. So there was an old man coming up from, you know, one of them old folks that you can learn a lot from. So he was coming up from his boat on the boat ramp, and I walked over to get my knowledge from him. And he said that he went up to the mouth of the lake there, where the river was coming into the lake. And he said the stench was so bad he couldn't get through. And I thought, what from? Or I asked him, you know, what from? And he said that the hydrilla, when it died, it started decomposing. When it started decomposing, it sucked all the oxygen out of the lake. And when it sucked all the oxygen out of the lake, it killed thousands and thousands of multiple species of fish. I mean, pickerel, crappie, bass, bluegill, catfish, a ton of different types of fish. Thousands and thousands were his words, that were dead and floating in the mouth of that river at the east side of the river, or east side of the lake. Needless to say, it made for a very sad day. There are some very big bass in that lake. As a matter of fact, some of the biggest bass in the tournaments were upwards of 13 pounds or better. Really awesome bass in that lake. And I'm thinking probably, I mean, his words to me were that the lake was dead, and it was gonna be dead for a while. And he told me he would not be coming back to that lake for a couple of years until it recovered from this. And I thought, man, what a tragedy. You know, Irma came through and she did a lot of damage in a lot of places. And a lot of people still don't have electric in South Florida. The Keys were completely annihilated, and I pray for those folks every day. The one thing that I didn't see coming was Irma uprooting all that and destroying that lake. But the thing about it is, apparently this had happened around 2004, 2005. one of the big hurricanes came through, it did the same thing, it uprooted, and all of these bass and crappie and catfish and bluegill, all these multi-type of fish are all dead and just laying around, and folks thought, man, that's it, this lake's dead, it's never going to be the same. And over the years, just the past 10 years alone, some of the best tournaments on this side of the state have been from that lake. I mean, some big, awesome fish have been from there. So I'm not counting Lake Russo out that quick. I'm thinking it's going to be okay. It's an adjustment for the lake, but nonetheless, it'll be fine. It's no worries. But anyway, thanks for coming over to the channel. Thanks for watching. Anglers Brave is all about braving all these things, all the things in your life that you have to brave in order to get out and do what you want to do. With me, it's fishing. I'm an angler and I brave all kinds of different things to get out and go fishing. Peace.